Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I want to show you how you can get and also use OBS. It's an extremely powerful screen recorder and you could use it to stream services like Twitch, YouTube and also Facebook. I record all of my videos on this channel. Best of all, it's entirely free and it's also open source. So let's see how we can get OBS. So to get OBS, head to the website obsproject.com. I have also included a link in the description. You can click on the link and it will take you to this website. The great thing about OBS, it works across all the major platforms like Windows, Mac, and also Linux. To download OBS, simply click on the operating system that you are using and then run through the installation process. Once you finish downloading and installing OBS, go ahead and launch the app. Now this is the brand new fresh installation of OBS. So this is what you will see if you have never opened the app before. Right now we simply have a black screen and the auto configuration window. Now you need to decide what exactly you want to use OBS for. You can use it for streaming, for screen recording or virtual camera. With the streaming option, you have to go through and select the service provider. So whether you're using Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and then it will also help you to identify the best bitrate. With screen recording, just like the name implies, you'll be able to record your screen and then you will have a video file on your computer that you can edit or you could send it to others. Last option is using virtual camera. With the virtual camera, we are going to compose a scene using OBS. You can send that scene to different video conferencing software, whether it's Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Google Meet, or any other services. For this tutorial, I'm going to optimize for recording. So let's click on next. First, we need to indicate what is our base resolution. So I will select the option that matches the resolution of the display. When you click on the drop down list, here I see display 1. I only have one monitor and my resolution is 1920 by 1080. I will select this option. Next, we could go with 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, or we could do either one, but prefer either higher frames or lower frames. If you are recording gameplay, go with higher frame rate. If you are recording things like your desktop or an application, go with 30 frames per second and you will have a little bit better resolution. So I'm going to select 30 frames per second now. Click on next. The final result of auto configuration window. So let's click on apply settings. If you want to make any modification to settings, click on tools and you could run through the auto configuration window. This is the easiest way to get started. Other than that, if you want to modify the various settings, you can click on file menu, click on settings. Within settings, click on output. You can customize your streaming and recording settings here. If you want full control, click on output mode, click on advanced and have full control over the settings for streaming and recording. But using the auto configuration window is the easiest way. Next, we need to tell OBS what we want to record or what we want to stream. And to do that, we are going to use this real estate right here, this black rectangle area. This is referred as a scene, and we are going to add different sources to the scene. Down in the bottom left hand corner, you can see that this scene is called scene. However, you can also add additional scene and you can also remove scenes. Especially once you start getting multiple scenes, it's good to rename them. First, I just want to simply get started using OBS. So let's now focus on sources and let's start adding few simple sources. Well, let's click on the plus icon to see what type of items we can add. Here we see a list of all different type of sources that we can add. You will most likely want to use the display capture. This is basically capturing your display or your desktop. If you're going to play games, click on games capture instead. This is optimized for gaming for now. Let's click on display capture. Give the name. I'll simply leave it as a display capture. If you start adding many different sources, give a unique name so you could identify them later. Click on OK. This opens up the properties, and here I can see now my display. Down below in capture method, select Windows 10 and up, and in display, let's say I have multiple monitors. I can choose which display I want to focus on. I could also select whether to include my mouse cursor. Click on OK. Back on the main screen, you should see your scene start coming together. If you're using a laptop and you have a black screen, after adding a display, go down to Windows and search for graphics settings. Then click into graphics settings. Select desktop app and then click on browse. Navigate where OBS is on your computer. Here is the location where you will find it. Click on obs.exe. Once you add it, you should see a new option appearing within the graphics settings. Click on options and you can toggle between power saving or high performance. Once you change the selection, try restarting OBS to see if your display shows up. If you are recording or streaming and you would like to include audio, we also need to add source for your microphone or for your system audio. Let's click once again under source on plus icon. Click for audio input capture. I want this to be my microphone. Rename it to microphone. Click on OK. On the properties screen, I am going to select my microphone. Click on OK. I can now see my microphone in the audio mixer and it is working. Here I can see that the audio is coming through. If I also want to record my system sound, I also need to add another source for that. Let's go down once again to the plus icon, click on the audio output capture. For this, I'm going to rename it to system sound. Click on OK. Within properties, I can choose the device that I want to capture the sound from. And I'm going to select speakers or headphones and then click on OK. Now that I've added system sound, I can see both my microphone and my system sound. Over the audio mixer, we can see all of the different audio sources. You can also drag here to adjust the levels. You can also mute or unmute the source, and you have some advanced audio properties here. To the right of the audio mixer, you also have scene transition. Later on, once we add another scene, we'll come back to what we can do with this. Let's start recording so we could see how OBS works. Over the right hand side, we have different controls. We can start streaming to our streaming services. We can start recording. We can start virtual camera, and there is something called studio mode. We'll come back to this later. Also, you can jump into settings or exit the application. For now, just start recording, and now I have started my recording, and you can see I am now recording my screen. So all of this will be captured. While I'm recording, I can also click on this icon to pause recording, and that will pause my recording. Once I'm ready to record, I can unpause and that will resume the recording. Once I'm done, I can click on stop recording. We have finished our recording. If you want to watch your recording, go to the file menu, then click on show recording. This will open a file explorer, and here I can see a recording. Let's click on this to see how it recorded. Recording my screen. So all of this will be captured. While I'm recording, I can also click on this icon to pause recording, resume the recording. Once I'm done, I can click on stop recording. Now that looks great. One thing you'll notice that this is an MKV file. An MKV file you typically can't open that in editing software, and it's not easy to share with others. To be able to work with this file, go to the file menu and then click on Remux recording. You can click on ellipses over here and then select the file that we just recorded. You can then click on open, and then once you are ready to remux, click on this button that says remux. The recording file has been remuxed. Let's click on OK and then close this window. If you go back to show recording in the file menu, you'll now see that we have MP4 file. You can now very easily edit this file in any editing software. Or if I just want to record directly to an MP4, go to the file menu, then click on settings, and then let's click on output. Within output, under the recording category, you can change the default recording format to MP4. The reason why OBS sets MKV as a default, let's say maybe you're recording 2 hours video with MP4 and halfway the computer crashes, you're going to lose every single thing that you have recorded up to that point. With MKV, on the other hand, if your computer crashes, everything up to the point of the crash will be saved. While I am recording this video, the OBS new update finally changed all of that. We now have an option called hybrid MP4 format, which is still in beta, but this combines the benefit of MP4 along with the benefit of MKV. That if OBS crashes, your footage will still remain intact. So I'm going to leave mine on MKV for now. One more thing in OBS, you can set the shortcut keys to start the recording and stop the recording. To set the shortcut keys within OBS, go to the file menu and then click on settings. Within settings, over the left hand side, click on hotkeys. Within hotkeys, you can set the shortcut keys to start the recording and stop the recording. Here I'll press Alt F1 to start the recording and Alt F2 to stop the recording. You could also set the shortcut keys for pretty much any action that you could take in the OBS. Now you know the basics of how to use OBS to capture your display. Next, I want to show you some of the more advanced uses of OBS, and now I want to show you how you can build more complex scene. I want to use this scene that we just created as a base. Let's right click on the scene and let's click on duplicate. I'm going to call this scene desktop capture with webcam. Click on OK. Now I have a second scene and I have all same sources. I want to add a webcam. Click on plus icon, and a webcam is a video capture device. Let's select this option. Next, keep default name of video capture device and then click on OK. This opens up my webcam properties and all the defaults looks good. Next, click on OK. My webcam image is now on screen, but it is a massive compared to the size of my desktop. To adjust this, down within sources, click on your video capture device, and then you will see a red rectangle appeared around that source. Now I can click on corner to adjust the size. If I want to modify the position, I can click on and then I could drag it on my screen. I'll continue adjusting the size just to make it smaller. And here once again by clicking on the item, I can reposition it. Now I just want this to be a small rectangle in bottom right hand corner. So I will move it down there. That's looking a lot better now. I can do the same for the desktop image that appears here. Just like before within the source list, I'm going to click on display capture. Here I see a red rectangle appear around my display, and just like with the webcam image, I can reposition my desktop, or I could adjust the size if I want. Now once again, the entire black area is what I'll be recording. So here in this case I want to record my desktop, so I will leave it so it uses up the full space. With my webcam image, you will notice that there is a lot of space on the both side, and I can't see the desktop behind me. So I want to crop my image a little bit. I'll select my video capture device, and then I see this red rectangle border again that appears around the image. I can press Alt key and then click on this red rectangle, and I can drag it in, and that will crop the image. Here again I'll do it on the other side. Now you can see more desktop behind me. Just like I crop my video, I can crop any one of my sources. So even here with my desktop, let's say I only want to record a certain area of my screen, I can do that using cropping. Here I'll select the display capture, and just like I did with the video, I can click on the red border, press the Alt key, and then I could drag this in, and that will only record this specific area of my screen. Now of course I want to record my whole screen, so I'll press the Alt key, and that will drag back out, and that will re-add my entire screen. I want to add a few more sources. Now I can click on the plus icon down below to add additional sources. I could also drag and drop items directly into OBS. Here I have a logo on my desktop. This is PNG file. I can simply click on it and then drag it over into my scene. Here now I see my logo file. I can resize my logo. Now I want to position this right above my video image. And now I can click on my video, and I can reposition this as well. So now that's looking pretty good. I have my logo and I have my video. I also want to include the border around my video. To add a border, let's go down to sources and click on the plus icon. I want to add a color source. I'll leave the default name and then click OK. This opens up properties for color source. Here I can select color. Let's click on that. I now have this color source. Let's click on OK. I'm going to adjust the size for this, and I'll put it right over my video. I want the color source to be a border for my video, so I want it back of my video source. Down here within sources, I can see all the different sources within the scenes. Now the item at the top is the topmost layer. The item at the bottom is the bottommost layer. Now I want my color source to appear behind my video capture device. I'll simply click on this item and then drag and drop it behind video device. I could also use this up and down arrow keys to shift the layers of the different items. So when I have a color source selected, I can reposition this, and just like I did before, I can use the Alt key to crop the size of this color source. So it's nice border around my video, and that looks pretty good now. Now as I'm working on my scene, I might want to make some sources visible and some sources not visible. I can go down here and there is an eye icon. When I click on that, that will hide the source. So I could hide all these topmost items. I could simply toggle that again to re-show those different items. I want to lock those items so I don't disturb their current position. Now I have locked those three items and I can move my desktop around, and because those are now locked in that position, they can't move. Now I have locked the position. This is one unit right here. I really view this as a group. Now I can click on the sources and I'll press the shift key to select these three items. So the logo, the video and the border. I can right click on this and I can group the selected items. I'm going to call this group logo and video. Click on enter and I can collapse this group so it helps clean up my list of sources. And this way I know when I select this item, I can show the whole group or I can hide the whole group. So it helps me organize my sources. My new scene is all together now, and at this point I can now start streaming. I could start recording, I could start my virtual camera, so I could basically go live with this. Let's say that maybe I have my webcam up here, but then I want to hide it because I want people to focus on the full screen and not on my face. Well, over here on the left hand side, I can click on the other scene and this will shift the scene back to my full desktop. Now let's say I'm done explaining the whole desktop. I can now click on my scene and that will show me again here in the bottom right hand corner. Now one of the problem is when I click on this different scene, it's a little bit of a hard cut. What if I want to have a more of a transition? Well, that brings us to this category here called scene transitions. Right now, it's set to a simple cut, but I have all these other transitions that I can set. Let's pick the swipe transition instead. So I could select this. I'll click on OK for that name. Here I can preview what the transition looks like. That's good. Let's click on OK. I now have a swipe transition. So when I'm streaming, when I'm recording, I can now click on the other scene and now you see it swipes away. If I want to go back to my webcam image, I can click on that scene and once again that also swipes it away. So from here I can select many different transitions and I can customize the transitions to make my recording or my streaming look better. I can also set shortcut keys. If I go to the top left hand corner, let's click on File, click into Settings and then go to Hotkeys. Within this list, I see my different scenes name. Here is the desktop capture with webcam and I see my scenes. I can set the shortcut key to switch this scene. For example, I'll set Alt F2 to switch the desktop with the webcam, and then for my full desktop I'll set that to Alt F3. Next I'll click on apply and then OK. Back to main screen. Now if I want to jump between scene, I'll press Alt F3. That jumps back to my desktop, and Alt F2 that jumps back to my scene with the webcam. So here too I could set shortcut keys to kick off my recording and I could set shortcut keys to switch my scene. So now I want to show you some additional functionality related to sources. Down here within sources, when you select one of your sources, you will see some button that appears right up here. Here you can return to your properties, and you could also jump into filters. I'm going to select my webcam image, and then let's see what filters we have. Within filters, I have audio and video filters, and then down below I have some effect filters. Let's first take a look at some audio filters. Here you have all sort of different audio filters that you can apply. The gain, the limiter. One of the interesting one is noise suppression. So let's say that you are streaming or you're recording in some louder environment. You can use noise suppression to cut all that. Down below I have effect filters. Let's click on that to see what we could do. So here I could apply different LUTs. I can use a chroma key. Let's say I have a green screen in the back of me and I want to remove it. I could use a chroma key for that. I could correct the color here. I could crop my video, and you could even set something up to scroll. So there are all sort of different filters that you could apply and play with it. It's definitely worth looking here. Along with being able to apply filters to individual sources, I could also transform a sources. Well, here down below, I'll click on the group that I created with the logo in the video. When I right click on this, there is an option for a transform. With a transform, I could rotate items, I could flip items, or I could also center them on the screen. Here I'll click on the center to screen, and here you see that my logo and my webcam jumps to the center. I'll move it back to the corner, but here with the transform, I could very quickly make changes to my different sources. Now, so far we have been using the user interface as it comes out of the box. You can adjust things to meet your needs. For example, I could click on controls and I could drag it out of the experience, or maybe I want to put scene transitions over on the left hand side. I can move these different items wherever I want. Now let's say you move a bunch of things and you want to reset it. Well, you could simply click on view tab and then click on reset UI, and that will return it back to original state. You can also set up multiple profile up here. There is a menu for profile. Well, let's say you go into file, setting, and you go through and you make a whole bunch of modifications to the settings. You can set a profile to store all of those settings. So maybe you have one profile for streaming, and then you have different profile with a different set of a setting for recording, and you can very quickly jump back and forth between those profiles. Another way that you can customize the experience is using something called scenes collection. Well, it is a group of a scene, so just like a scene has a multiple sources under it, a scene collection can have multiple scene under it. So it's basically one level up from scenes. Click on scenes collection and I'll jump to my scene collection that I use for my YouTube shorts. So here you see I have entirely new setup for scene and then sources under those scenes. If I want to jump back to my other scenes collection, I can simply get back to my scenes. The last thing I want to show you how you can use studio mode. Over on the right hand side there is an option called studio mode, and you could use this when you're streaming or when you're recording. Let's click on this to see what we can do. Within studio mode, you see a preview over on the left hand side and program over on the right hand side. The easiest way to think of what program means is when you're streaming or when you're recording, this is what being recorded or this is what being streamed. Over on the left hand side, we see preview. Now with the preview, I can move different items around. So I could click on my desktop. I could adjust the size. So maybe I want to modify things. Now anything I am doing over on the left, that's not being recorded and it's not being streamed. So I can make adjustments over on the left, and let's say that while I'm streaming, I want to change my view to look like this. I can then click on transition, and this now goes live out to my audience where I'm streaming or when I'm recording. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. That was a quick look at how you can get started using OBS. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and I hope you to see you next time. Thank you.